Okay. I feel like we need a 7th inning stretch for these speeches. Sorry, guys. I'm Andrea, Eric's sister, and as you're about to find out, I am my father's daughter because our speeches are outlined exactly the same. So please just do me the favor, and if I repeat a joke, just do me the honor of laughing. Okay. So I'm going to make my most valiant attempt at getting through this speech without crying too hard. And those that know me are surely and rightfully very nervous for me because of my overly emotional tendencies. I strongly considered pre-recording this speech and just doing a lip dub, but here we go. We're going to do this. So, anyone that was at Bear Brother Wedding #1 knows that it is no small feat to get up here and try to speak about the man that gave the most epic best man speech of all time a little over 2 years back for our little brother Giannis. His name is Brian, but I call him Giannis, so that just a disclaimer for the rest of the speech. So his speech clocked in at 9 minutes and 58 seconds of pure glory. It made us fall on the ground laughing, especially me. It made us reach for tissues a few times and was simply perfection. It has over 63,000 views on YouTube and counting, so if you haven't seen it, I'll share a link with anyone who wants it at the end of the night so you can watch it. Also, it airs a few times a year on Uncle Al's boat dock if you want to go down to the lake. So, yes, Eric has always had a way with words. Growing up, he was definitely the standout when it came to writing. We kept this journal at my grandpa's lake house that we would all write in when we visited it. And, an entry from my brother Giannis or myself might say something like, oh, we went skiing this morning, the water was great, we ate breakfast, we swam and went fishing all day. Eric's entries were a little bit more dramatic, so I'd like to just read an entry. June 11, 2002. Now I bet I can guess what you all are thinking. All right, here it comes, another entry from Eric. There's popcorn popping away, and Grandma is looking frantically for her long-lost reading glasses. The entertainment-thirsty people are waiting in great anticipation, longing for the reading of Eric's latest work. His vivid descriptions, his unmatchable sense of humor, all the stories. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there will be no dramatic description of the week's events. I'm tired, low on time, and my creative tank is running on fumes. So tough luck this time, I'm giving it to you straight. This is what he writes when his creative when his creative tank is running on fumes. I mean, I don't stand a chance up here right now. Okay, one more. So he used to write this running editorial that he called Leisure Sports Weekly, or the LSW. So in this, he would write stuff about his Brooklyn kickball team, the Jorts, which is jean shorts. So here's another quote. Catapulting towards the promised land, I lunge into a breathtaking headfirst dive, sliding safely into home as the yellow ball of death flied past inches above my back. The Jorts bench explodes into euphoria. Euphoria? Aunt Stacy will surely correct me if that word does not work, but we'll stick with that for now. I am mobbed at home plate, PBR being shaken and sprayed like World Series champagne. I mean, these are the words of my brother. So I know I took the long way to getting here on my own on the speech, but I figured the best way to have a really beautiful speech would be to share some of the groom's words directly. So I wave my white flag now to surrender the permanent title of Best Wedding Speaker ever to you, Eric. Although Giannis is up next, and I do hope he gives you a real run for your money. So, this is where the speech begins, okay? So I happen to think that my brothers are the two greatest men on the planet. And I want to take some time to highlight just what makes Eric so special and wonderful, and why Meghan is so lucky to be his new wife. First off, so here comes the list, like what my dad did. First off, more than anyone else I know, Eric knows how to make a person feel really special. Eric doesn't do anything halfway. He goes all out. And I think everyone here that's known Eric, even for just a few hours, can probably think of an example of how he made you feel so great. I have old voicemails of Eric singing me happy birthday, I remember almost every present he's ever given me because it's always special. He'll give me high heels wrapped with wrapping paper in the shape of high heels. Or send me out on a spa day in New York City where he specifically recommends the almond milk pedicure. And on and on. And he does this for everyone. He sends you on scavenger hunts. He writes you heartfelt notes in cards. He makes it a point to tell people how much he cares. And clearly he does this for Meghan. If you haven't heard the story of their engagement, you must. There were no shortcuts there. Showing how much you love someone takes work, and I know both of you put in that work, and you always will. Number 2, Eric is competitive, and I'm not talking about kicking things across the room if he loses, although Giannis served a few decades as his personal punching bag. But Eric's nature to want to win at everything is part of what makes him so fun. He's always looking for the next leisure sport to dominate, Santa Barbara cook-off to slaughter, or a chance to be sure he catches more fish than Jeff. Someday his competitive nature is going to make for one hell of a storytelling grandfather to some very lucky grandkids. And he doesn't just want to win himself, he wants everyone in his life to be the best also. And over the past few years, I've seen Eric and Meghan's relationship grow through this competitive nature, him taking her fishing, going on these crazy hiking trips, wanting her to learn to surf, and standing out in the water, pushing her into the wave and shrieking his praises as she stands up and rides in. Even just a few weeks ago, when she dominated Lake the Ozarks by getting up skiing and crossing both wakes, I never saw Eric look so proud. Number 3, Eric is gracious. Now, do not mistake me saying gracious for graceful, because that is one thing Eric is not. If you have ever seen Eric water ski, bowl, roller skate at a wedding, try to take any sort of a ramp, either on a bike, on skis, or jump on a trampoline, it wouldn't be a Bear wedding speech without talking about a trampoline. You know the whole thing looks like a massive train wreck about to happen, but somehow Eric makes it work. Anyways, Eric is gracious. He's got our mom's Pollyanna optimism to the max. He doesn't speak ill of anyone. He's not a complainer. Hell, he doesn't even cuss. And he's the perfect gentleman to compliment his new wife, a true lady. Number 4, Eric doesn't judge, and he refuses to be judged. I mean, the kid floated through Venice in an inflatable boat. He takes his fishing rod out on the stand-up paddleboards. We were in Kansas walking home late one night with his bike because he had left it in town earlier the day. And this guy walked by with a few friends and muttered under his breath, "Nice bike." So Eric calmly said, "Hold this, sis," handed me the bike, turned around and walked back to the guy. Is no less than 30 seconds later that they're embracing in a hug as if they're like the oldest friends. Because Eric is who he is. Take it or leave it. But the thing is, you can't help but take it. Everyone loves Eric. And just the same, Eric loves his friends and family for who we are. He loves that Grandpa Copeland, Dad, and Marcia want to wear their cowboy boots to dance all night tonight. He loves that Kathy tells people about her future grandchild, little Bronte. He never judged me when I would crack open a Heineken at 7 a.m. in our Bronx studio apartment after my 24-hour shift. And he loves Meghan just the way she is and celebrates everything that makes her so incredible. And that no judgment thing, I think, is a pretty big deal when you're talking about the rest of your life. In the interest of time, though I could go to 100, I will finish the count with number 5. Eric takes care of people. He was like my little housewife when we lived in the Bronx. It was 450 square feet, cleaned by Eric, groceries stocked by Eric, but most importantly, he was my best friend. He got me through one of the most challenging years of my life. Because he takes care of people. Now I know you two are going to take care of each other just the same. So my brothers are my best friends. I never thought it would be possible for them to find women that I thought were good enough for them. And yet here we stand today with two of the most amazing women I can imagine. And I get them as my sisters. I didn't have sisters growing up, and I think that was for the best. I was basically the boss, and the boys would do whatever I said, and that was great. But this wedding, this is the way I was meant to find my sisters. So Eric, thank you for giving me the awesome gift of a second truly amazing sister. You're a good sport, Meghan, and you know I love you when I tease you about exclaiming, "Oh yeah," at the prospect of a simple eggnog. And that your impressions of Chris Traeger saying, "literally," will forever crack me up. But Meghan, you are beautiful, loving, hilarious, beyond enthusiastic. I can't believe how lucky we are to have you in our Bear family now. I want to begin to wrap up by thanking everyone here tonight, and I want to thank you because we're all a part of the lives of these two, and without each and every person here, I'm not sure we would be here tonight. Eric and Meghan were born and raised almost 2,000 miles apart. It took a lot of life decisions to get to this polo field here tonight. Eric moved from Missouri to Kansas to California to Wisconsin and New York before he moved to Santa Barbara and lived with and met a lot of us on the way. And because of those hundreds and thousands of little forks in the road, fate would bring them together through all of our connections, through the bonds of every person out here tonight. So for that, I thank each and every one of you, for you have given my brother the greatest blessing of his perfect wife. I heard a beautiful saying when I was looking for ways to close this toast. Don't marry the person you can live with, but the person you cannot live without. But because that sentence ends in a preposition, and I'm a grammar police, I can't close a speech like that. Let me just get my glass. So instead, I want to close with a quick story from the summer. We were in Santa Barbara at a backyard barbecue, and Kathy and Mike and Eric and I were talking. And Kathy was talking about the wedding and how she wanted to make sure everything was perfectly planned because she said, "I want you guys to just sit back and enjoy yourselves." And Eric said, "That's what I've been doing since the day I met her." So here's to just enjoying yourselves every single day for the rest of your lives. I love you both so much.